All right, hello everybody. My name is Zach Williams, and I am the manager of programming and an international student advisor here at Green River College. We really welcome you today about our major Mondays dealing with the major of economics. As some of you may know, I advise business majors and econ majors for our international students with last names A through L. And I'm going to go ahead and let our other guests introduce themselves now as well. Alan, do you want to go ahead?
Yep. So my name is Alan Nguyen. I'm also one of the other international student advisors. With it being such a popular major, we split the responsibilities up between Zach and myself. So I take students with the family names M through Z for business and econ.
Great, thanks, Alan. And Sam, please introduce yourself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Lay, and I am econ faculty at Green River. I'm coming on to 10 years teaching at Green River full time. So glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Sam, we really appreciate you being here to answer all these questions that we have about the econ major. So we're going to go and dive into it. Our first question that we often get is, what is the econ major and what exactly am I studying?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's one of the things that a lot of students have when they sign up for an economics class, right? And I think one of the things is that in economics, we are trying to help students learn to develop a way of understanding and thinking critically about real world problems. And particular problems that we want students to be working with is dealing with limited resources. And so this is a big crossover in business, right? In business, you got limited resources, you got limited, let's say, workers, and you got all these things that are competing for your resources. And how do you deal with this? And so we see a lot of students, in econ going into business, but that's not only, right? Because in governments, in nonprofits, in a lot of other areas of society deals with these similar fields. And so what that means is that in econ, you're going to learn a lot more versatile and looking at a lot of these issues that are across the board there. The bottom line is this: what econ majors do is that we want to prepare students to identify, understand, and then tackle some real world problems in all kinds of settings, right? And so that's kind of the idea there.
Would I wonder if another name like a resource engineer, would that be kind of a
Yeah, so engineers also take econ classes to kind of help them understand how to deal with limited resources, right? In terms of both the physical and then the demands, right, of that, right? So building a bridge or doing that, right? It's like you want to have as much money as possible and build the perfect bridge, but you're not, right? You have a budget. How do you build a bridge that get people from point A to point B without falling, right. And meet your budget meet the budget that's given to you there. So yeah, it is an economics problem there that they have to deal with. Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Sam. Another common question that a lot of our students that are interested in asking. What kinds of jobs can an econ major expect to work in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing here. And I think that's one of the great things is that in economics, we don't limit students to a particular field or particular job, right? It all comes down to students' interests. And so, we see students go into all different types of fields, from government to you working for businesses, for tech companies, and banking and education, nonprofits across the board. And so I'll give you some examples of people who have econ majors who are working in the real world, right? So for example, Warren Buffett, he was an econ major and head of, very famous investor. Sam Walton, head of Walmart, was an econ major, right? So those are some known figures in this. Then so we also have people in government. George W. Bush was an econ major at Yale, right? So he's there. We have Sandra Day O'Connor was an econ major undergrad at Stanford, and she, lawyer. We have people going to law and Supreme Court justice there. And then what about sports, right? Sports. Bill Belichick NFL head coach there, econ major. Jeremy Lin was also an econ major, right? So all different types of people, and so it doesn't really limit, right? And so I think that's one of the good things is that economics teaches you a way of thinking that you can approach all different types of fields, all different types of jobs, and be successful in that. And that's really important, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So that's very cool. It sounds like there's a lot of ways to go with it. But maybe I'm going to ask you a question more about getting into it. So I'm a Green River College student. I'm thinking of doing econ. What Green River College classes should I take that are going to prepare me for a transfer? Students looking to transfer to a four-year school to finish their econ degree. What classes should they be taking at Green River College?
Yeah, definitely. So if you plan on a transfer to a four-year institutions, you definitely need to take the Economics 201 and 202 courses, which is Principles of Micro and Macro. So those are the basic level in courses there. Along with that, I strongly suggest students take a lot of math courses. So what I mean by that is finish up your calculus series there, do as much as possible in that. Take statistics. That's also very important. So finish with that. And the reason being is that in upper division econ courses, starting with your econ 301, 302 classes there, intermediate and a more advanced, you'll be using calculus a lot. And along with that statistics. So you need to have that. They require you to have those tools to be able to work with that in those upper division courses there. So that's going to help you be very successful. Another one is I strongly suggest students also take some, basic computer programming classes, some IT classes. And the reason being is in econ and kind of upper division, you'll also be working with a lot of data and manipulation of data. So you'll be working with different programs. And so just having that basic understanding of programming language will translate really well, so that when you're asked to write a little program to run some data there, you're not going to have to go back and relearn, going from point zero there, right? And so all of these things will help students there. And then, all these programs will look for students who have taken those requirements there, and that's going to be that indicates that you are well prepared to be successful in an econ program there. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Another great question that some of our students ask is, could you take the time to explain about some of the specializations within the econ major that some students hear about? So I know you may have touched on this a little bit, but business econ, economic theory, social economics, labor economics, etc.
Yeah. So econ basically breaks down to mainly 2 to 3 major fields. The third field is, I'll explain. So the 2 major ones are macroeconomics and microeconomics. So that's the 200, 201, 202 courses there. All the subfields are built upon these, right? And the third one is econometrics. So econometrics is learning the tools to analyze data in micro and macroeconomics there, right? And so you're going to be basically taking those classes over and over and over again, starting the principles and then the intermediate and the advanced classes there. And then once you have taken those are foundational. Depending upon where you go and depending upon the professors there, each professor will have their own kind of the specialty. So you'll have some people who are in labor economics, some people are in game theory, there's some people are in business there, finance, all right, and they will offer specific classes that are in their fields there, and so you can take those classes there and learn more in that. Some schools might have enough people who offer enough classes to give you kind of a specialization in that. It's a little bit rare from what I see for undergrad. It's more for, graduate, definitely in graduate programs, you would be required to do that. But in undergrad, you can take a lot more classes in one field if that, sparks your interest there. And so the idea is it gives you a well-rounded enough to see all these things and then focus on some of these things later on. So for example, myself, when I was in an undergrad econ major at University of California, Irvine, one of the classes I really enjoyed was taking a game theory class, and that was taught by a microeconomics professor there, and his focus was on game theory, and so he taught kind of a specialized class in that. And so that was an example of something that you can focus on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really good advice. Kind of following up on that a little bit, can you recommend schools like in Washington State, or are there maybe schools even outside of Washington State that you think have good econ programs? Maybe they're kind of affordable schools, or maybe they have some of the specializations that you're thinking about?
Yeah, definitely. So let's start with schools in Washington State. So the famous one is UW. I went there for grad school. So they're really good. They're a strong program. They're nationally ranked pretty high, 35th in the nation, right? In econ. So a very, very strong program there. You got enough professors that offer a different variety of classes there. And so that's kind of the top. I think if you want to stay in the Northwest area, and if you have the grades, I definitely would recommend UW. WSU, Washington State University, is also a good program. They're not as highly ranked as UW, but they definitely also offer pretty good. They're 78th in the nation there. Oregon, University of Oregon is about 59th, and then Oregon State University is 90th. And so all these schools are good. I think most of the big schools have enough, a big econ department where they have a lot of faculty that can offer you, kind of the wide variety and also teach the basics there. If you go to a smaller school, you might not be in they might not have a large econ department. And so then, depending upon the instructor or the professors there, the offerings might be a little bit more limited there. And so looking at that, the UC schools are all have pretty strong programs in econ, right? So if you want to go down to California, University of California systems there is pretty good there on there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really good suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Quick plug, go Cougs, but
yeah.
I was gonna say the flag in the background might tip people off, but
yeah.
that's what Alan's recommendation will be.
Yeah.
On a more personal note, one last question. So why did you decide to study economics, and why did you decide to teach economics?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So my exposure to economics started in high school when I was basically kind of running start student. I think I was in my junior year. So I was in like 11th grade. I took my first econ class, and it was a summer class down in California. And I took, micro and macro as a running start student there. Enjoyed it. I just found it just clicked with me. I guess it's because I'm a little bit more analytical. I enjoy math. But I don't enjoy math enough to just do theory. I want to see it applied. And so economics gives that application, right? Yeah, you learn the theory, but then how does that apply to real world data? And does the model that you create actually work in the real world? And you can, work backwards and forwards to test that. And so it kind of fits right in there. So that's kind of where I'm coming from in terms of my interest in economics. And as we're teaching, I kind of started to teach more in grad school, so TAing and then teaching my own sections, and then that's how I developed my passion for teaching economics there. So very first reason why I like to teach is because it's a selfish reason, is because it helps me understand economics better, right? We all know this. If you want to understand something better, teach it, right? Because that will force you to learn it a lot. And I enjoy the field. I'm always looking for new things there. And so teaching kind of like makes me always learn every quarter I'm learning new things there. And so I have a passion for it, and I want to learn something new, and teaching, is that venue there. And then teaching allows me to share that passion to others, right? And so teaching shares that passion to my students there. And then finally there, I really want to find a job that just doesn't just pay the bill. Paying the bills is important. I recognize that. An econ major, I know it's important there. Money is important there, right? But I also want to change lives, right? And I think that economics is important. It's not about just learning a bunch of theories or anything like that, but it really, I hope that students who come to a good econ program, and hopefully my class is there as well, is that teaching a way of thinking there, right? It's an alteration of the way of thinking, like planting the seeds of how to think about these difficult problems that we deal with more and more in the world there. And so it's transformative, right? And so I believe teaching is transformative, and that's why I want to be in a job that pays the bill, but it was also very, very transformative as well there. So that's the reason why.
Awesome, that's great. I'll just plug a little. I agree with you, Sam, 100%. I little known fact, I was an econ minor, so I took the 201, the 202, and then a little bit of the upper level. And I agree with you 100%. It was a great way. I'm also a very analytical person, enjoy math, and really found like this was a way to go, oh, this is how all that math I learned really applies to the real world and some of these real problems. And so I would second that 100%. If any of our students feel like that, like you're an analytical person, you enjoy math, but how am I going to bring this to real world? And how am I going to make solutions out of this? Econ, definitely, I saw that 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so I think, well, the thing is that, your passions and your interests will change, right? And I think even with being an econ major, as careers progress there, you can switch careers and still be successful because in that way. So you're not really like having to, I'm stuck in this because I was an econ major, right? So that's really cool things.
That's great. Really appreciate it, Sam. Alan, do you have any final questions or comments?
No.
Okay. And Sam, I would definitely want to leave it to you. Any final words of encouragement or final comments?
I think, I think I'm more than happy to talk to any students who are interested in the field or just chatting about econ or things that you see there. I'm more than happy, and I really encourage you just to jump in and take an econ class. Right? I think that's the best exposure there, and then from there, right. Part of going to college is exploring, right? And so learning new things and exploring, and I hope econ it would be a great fit for you. But if it doesn't, at least you know what it is, right? Definitely.
That's a good point. All right, so our students can find you in Class Finder, look at the econ classes, Samuel A. And can we plug your email address just in case if students wanted to email you a question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, SLE@greenriver.edu. Yeah,
SLE@greenriver.edu. Okay. Sam, really appreciate you taking the time answering these questions. I think our students are really going to get a lot out of this. So thank you so much. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see you later.